Russia is increasing its presence in Syria. For President Assad, this may be a lifeline, but for the West, it may be a provocation. Charles Bybelezer has the details.
A Russian bear on the prowl in the Middle East. Moscow is reportedly shipping heavy offensive weaponry to Syria and building a forward operating airbase near Latakia, a stronghold of embattled President Bashar al-Assad.
We have supported the Syrian government as it confronts terrorist aggression. We have provided and will provide all the necessary military and technical support.
Moscow contends its actions are aimed at combating terrorism and has called for enhanced cooperation with the US-led anti-Islamic State coalition. But this poses a number of problems for the White House. President Barack Obama initially described Putin's military expansionism in Syria as doomed to fail, and in the wake of the Ukraine crisis does not want to be viewed as rewarding Russian aggression. Nevertheless, the U.S. is hinting that some level of coordination is, in fact, possible.
We would prefer to see from the Russians is a more constructive engagement with the 60-member coalition that's led by the United States, that's focused on degrading and ultimately destroying ISIL. We would welcome Russia's participation in that effort.
But a major sticking point remains the fate of Assad. With Moscow apparently increasing its support for him, any U.S. cooperation with Russia might be construed as a tacit legitimization of the Syrian regime. This reality is not lost on Assad, who in a rare interview criticized the U.S.'s unwillingness to engage him.
There's not a single coordination or contact between the Syrian government and the United States government, or between the Syrian army and the American or the U.S. army. And this is because they cannot accept the reality that we are the only power that's fighting ISIS on the ground. For them, maybe if they cooperate with the Syrian army, this is like a recognition of our effectiveness in fighting ISIS. This is part of the willful blindness of the American administration.
With the stakes rising, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will travel to Moscow next week for talks with Putin. Israel has in the past been implicated in strikes in Syria, having vowed to prevent the transfer of sophisticated arms to Hezbollah in neighboring Lebanon. But a growing Russian military presence poses a grave obstacle to any such future operations. In fact, the probability of an international incident, albeit an unintentional one, is rising, as Western and Arab countries continue to drop bombs from Syria's skies. They will increasingly have to avoid Russian and Iranian military personnel fighting on the ground.